our sexy word for tonight is apricate. It comes from a Latin word, apricus. It means to sunbathe, okay, to lay over in the sun and take the sun with you. Using a sentence, you could say, so you don't get tan lines, you apricate on the sun. You apricate, nude under the sun. Sounds good? Actually, I was thinking, apricate rhymes with fornicate. Oh, wow, my favorite word. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye, love you.
Come and shoot a orchestra or some kind of... It looks like they double booked the studio.
My goodness, it's the Twisted Mystic himself, Stuart Davis.
Kermit the Frog, what is up?
Come on in.
Well, I would love to. Let's hang.
Pull up a chair.
From Hollywood, California, the crucible and the capital of love's crazy carnival, it's sex, God, and rock and roll with Stuart Davis and Kandyse McClure. Tonight, Stuart explores the difference between an a-hole and a person. Kandyse shows us how to make a new rocktail, a one-hit wonder. We hang with the green legend, Kermit the Frog, and all the news that's fit to pimp. Now, the antidote to enlightenment, Stuart Davis.
Kermit, you have a new movie coming out.
I do.
It's huge.
It's huge because it's on the big screen.
I know, I can't wait to see it. Can I ask you one thing, though, before I go?
Sure.
How does it end?
How does it end?
Yeah.
You want me to tell you how it ends?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to give the end away exactly, Stuart. But I will tell you that it is a Muppet movie.
It's a Muppet movie.
Chances are it's going to be happy.
It's gonna be happy.
Yeah,
you worked with Jason Segel this time
I
around.
did. You know, Jason is a gigantic Muppet fan.
I know.
Literally, because he's like 6'2".
So I heard also that he was very emotionally moved. Like this was a big emotional heart space for him to work with you, right?
Yeah. Well, he's been a big fan for a long time, and
I can relate because I'm feeling some of that right now.
Are you really?
Yeah.
I think you and I might even relate in a totally different way, though.
Well,
You know?
I think you're right because you seem like a deep frog to me. There's a depth in you.
Yeah.
There's an awakened presence there that I think is very interesting. And as a spiritual practitioner myself, struggling and clumsily so for many years, I wonder, do you have a spiritual practice? Do you have a path that's...
Well, I grew up in the swamp, and like many people, I started out with sort of a basic idea of what spiritual was. When you're in a swamp, it has a lot to do with being connected to nature.
Yeah.
But like most of us, you eventually sort of leave the swamp, you get out into the big world, and you get a whole different point of view,
I love that. Bayou nature mysticism. I would actually like to study a little bit of that as well. If you ever feel like sharing anything with me.
Well, listen, it's easy. You just come down to the swamp. You find a nice quiet place, clear of all the alligators. You find a nice comfortable log. You get naked, like I always appear that way.
I love to get naked.
Yeah, get naked in the swamp, roll around in all the muck and the mire. Oh, you'd be surprised at what that'll do for your spirituality.
This is my new path. I mean, that really actually sounds like it very much fits my personality.
Well, it's also really good for your skin.
What comes to mind for you when you think of sex, God, rock and roll? I just picked my 3 favorite things in life.
Right.
And made the show.
That's true. I mean, they all sort of tie together in many interesting ways.
They do to me as well. What about you?
I mean, being a frog, who plays to a family audience, I don't talk about sex a lot.
Yeah.
But, it's interesting for frogs.
Yeah.
Let me put it this way. Imagine being naked, jumping headfirst into the deep end of a pool filled with sort of a solution of maybe 70-30 KY in water with 20 of your best friends.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's life.
I think you got the picture.
That's the frog party we're talking about.
Yeah, it's called spawning.
Yeah,
we do that. We do that.
More that I find out, the more that I do feel froggish at my core. I feel that there is a commonality here that,
I'd have to say it might not be for everybody, but it's not a bad way to spend a nice spring evening.
Hey, what are you doing afterward? Because would you want to go get a plate of flies or something together? I mean, I know this awesome lily pad down on Silver Lake Boulevard.
Deep fried?
Deep fried
I am
flies.
with you, sir. I am with you.
Is there any other kind?
Let's do it. Hollywood's waiting for us. Let's go.
Let's hit it.
Now the news.
I'm Wolf Blitzer.
And I'm Greta Van Susteren, and this is the news from Sex,
God.
and Rock and Roll.
Sex. Abstinence, the best fertility. For the first time in a decade, teen pregnancy rates are on the rise. Experts attribute the increase to the Bush sex education campaign that exclusively promoted abstinence. See? America does make something. Babies.
Zip your lips. In the state of Maryland, it's still illegal to give or receive oral sex. Hey, Delaware, said a local man as he dangled something over the border.
Pimp chimps. Researchers say female chimpanzees in the wild engage in a form of prostitution in which they exchange sex for meat. Did you hear that? Whispered Ralph the Butcher to Alice in an episode of The Brady Bunch that never aired.
Who knew? A study says staring at breasts is almost as good for a man as an intense exercise regime. Staring at boobs for 10 minutes is equivalent to 30 minutes aerobics workout and cuts the risk of stroke and heart attack in half. So put down the Lipitor and pick up the Playboy.
God. Body of Christ, glutton for food. Kids who are religious are 50% more likely to be obese when they grow up than kids who are not religious. See you in hell, said Mary Kate to Ashley.
Robot. A poll by the Institute for Ethics and Emerging Technologies showed the majority feel spirituality is not something we should program into superintelligent robots. Too fucking late, chuckled the Pope.
Pallbearer, pole dancer. Hey, Stuart, have you made any plans for how you want your remains to be handled after you die?
Totally, of course. I want to be interned next to Lenin.
Oh, John Lennon?
Vladimir Lenin. I want my body on top of his and just gently the lips touching.
Right, that's creepy. Well, those interested in adding some pizzazz to their funeral have some pretty exciting options. Here are 3 you may not have considered. Number 1, you want to draw a good crowd at your service. Okay. How about some strippers? In China and Taiwan, mourners love lap dances. That's right. Although controversial, this tradition is still the rage in Asia.
Well, how about adding some guns to those strippers? Because now you can have your ashes put into shotgun shells and rifle cartridges from a company called Holy Smoke.
Or the new BIOS urn allows your remains to become a tree.
Oh.
Your ashes are commingled with a seed, which grows into a tree. Like an apple tree, which your children harvest and bake into a pie that tastes like disappointment.
Rock and roll. You know what? It pays to misbehave. Among the original $1 million quartet of Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, Johnny Cash, and Jerry Lee Lewis, Lewis has outlived them all. So what's the secret to a long life in rock and roll? Great balls of fire, apparently. Jerry married his 13-year-old cousin while still married to another woman. This last man standing synthesized polygamy, incest, and booze-addled hell-raising, and it led him to 10 gold records. Hey Bieber, I think we found your mentor.
Red Eyes Crying in the Rain. Up on another marijuana possession charge, a judge offered to let Willie Nelson go in a bargain. If he sings Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain, he can go free with a fine of $100. Willie, throw in Whiskey River. Maybe the feds will get off your back about back taxes.
And finally tonight, harmonica. The harmonica is the world's best-selling instrument, but it's also what killed Raymond Barrero, famous for playing the world's smallest harmonica. He inhaled it and choked to death in 1994. Here now, his final words. I'm Wolf Blitzer.
And I'm Greta Van Susteren, and that's the news from Sex, God, and Rock and Roll.
At the end of an episode, there should be a turning toward each other, flashing, and then just a kind of a flip in that test shot. And if I had hair like that, I too
I used to have longer hair. Did you know that my hair fell out? We looked very similar.
Don't copy me. You didn't have alopecia.
It's time for Rocktails, where we teach you to make wonderful cocktails inspired by rock and roll. Today we're going to learn how to make a one-hit wonder. Remember, you must be 21 to drink, and never drink and drive. To make this rocktail, you're going to need 3 ounces of scotch, 12 ounces of Scottish-style ale, an oxygen concentrator, and a nasal cannula. First, put on your nasal cannula. One-hit wonders are, of course, music acts that have one hit, and then vanish from history, never to repeat their initial splash. And this rocktail is an homage to their brief but beautiful moment in the spotlight. Just a few one-hit wonders to ponder. David and David's Welcome to the Boomtown. The Proclaimers' I Will Walk 500 Miles, and Devo's Whip It. Now, open the oxygen nice and wide on your concentrator. Take one hit and wonder what happened to your career. You were so huge. You cracked the top 20, then the top 10, top 5. You played stadiums. You bought a chateau in France. You were on top of the music world. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, you plunged to the bottom and vanished forever. Think about that as you sip this Scotch-infused Scottish-style ale. But don't feel too bad, rock star. Some artists, Stuart, don't Davis, even have one hit. So go over to that jukebox in the corner. See? Your song's still in there. Yeah, go ahead. Put a quarter in. Let people know that's you. That's your song. Chances are someone's gonna take you home and give you the pity fuck of a lifetime. That is how you make a one-hit wonder.
It's an interesting thing you notice about the South. There isn't one.
Is it too soon? Is it too soon to pop a cap in its ass? To pop a cap in its ass. The pumpkin will grin till compassion kicks in to pop a cap. Is it so hard? Is it so hard to put a kiss on its lips? To put a kiss on its lips. Blow it out into space where it is erased and put a kiss. The ground is starting to shake. Hold on, it's heaven's birthquake. Lots of loving, lots of laughter. That's what the kids are after. Bless the bastards. Bless the bastards. There's a big light. There's a big light behind a crack in your face. behind a crack in your face. I'm pursing my lips, or whatever slips out of the crack. The sky is starting to blush. Here comes a headless head rush. Lots of love and lots of laughter. That's what the kids are after. Bless the bastards. Bless the bastards. The ground is starting to shake. Hold on, it's heaven's birthquake. The sky is starting to blush. Here comes a headless head rush. Lots of love and lots of laughter. That's what the kids are after. Bless the bastards. Bless the bastards. Bless the bastards.
A-hole versus person. Good news for grown-ups. Anyone can have a baby. Bad news for babies. Anyone can have a baby. Even a-holes. Especially a-holes. Most a-holes become parents, but not every parent becomes a person. A person knows the difference between a want and a need, a craving and a necessity. A person can do what an a-hole can't. Listen, share, wait. A person doesn't need to be congratulated for any of this like an a-hole does. That's what makes him a person. Now, in a fair system, once you evolve into a person, you shouldn't have to worry about the a-hole coming back to haunt you. When you become a person, the a-hole should vanish, but it doesn't. In my experience, when you outgrow the a-hole, you don't. It doesn't disappear. It loiters and plots its big comeback. From my a-hole's perspective, I'm living in its house, screwing its wife, eating its food. The a-hole wants it all back. It lurks, waiting for the person's guard to drop, and then it will reclaim its life. There's an old saying, don't shit where you sleep. Like, if you sleep on earth, don't shit on people. It's simple, be a person, not an a-hole, right? No, the a-hole is patient. Every a-hole knows that eventually a person takes a vacation from personhood. It just needs a little break. So the a-hole starts driving the kids to school. It's teaching soccer. It's running the Girl Scouts Association of America. Wait, it's a senator. What can you do? How can you intervene when you see some a-hole taking control, lording its power over the innocents? Well, there is an effective measure, but I'll warn you now, it's counterintuitive. If you see an a-hole doing something bad, just do what they do and then watch what that does. For instance, you're in a grocery store and some a-hole mother yells at her kid, "Put that candy down, you little brat!" Now, don't act on your first impulse. Like, my first impulse would be to abdopt that kid. Abdopt is when you abduct and adopt a cool kid, rescuing them from their a-hole parents. Abdopt, I'll use it in a sentence. Angelina Jolie wants to abdopt Octomom's kids, but I digress. You want to abdopt that kid, but instead you jump in with the mom and you say, "Or I will slap it out of your hands." Presto! That mom will look up at you and go, "Excuse me? What the hell did you just say to my child?" And then you reply, "Exactly. I was being an a-hole like you."
So go back to being a person before Angelina Jolie has to adopt your kid. Kids have enough problems these days, and a-hole parents make it worse. Did you know kids have insomnia now? I guess that's why television networks run kids programming all night. There are 5-year-olds with bloodshot eyes watching Wonder Pets at 3:13 in the morning mumbling, Jesus, I gotta get to bed. I got a play date at 9. What gives kids insomnia? A-hole parents. Like these dads who bring their 5- and 6-year-old daughters into the men's locker room at the gym. What the hell are you doing? I guess they look around and see a dozen naked grown men with their dongs flopping and think to themselves, okay, come on in, princess, follow daddy into the putrid cave of hairy strangers. These guys, these a-holes, usher their daughters into a skin circus of bloated anthropoids with unsheathed lingams. How is this even legal? Here's a rule of thumb. If your daughter is old enough to know that there's such a thing as a stranger and old enough to know that there is such a thing as a penis, your job as a parent is to make sure those two concepts, stranger and penis, never meet in her experience. Never. That's why your kindergartner is up watching Word Girl at 2 a.m. She's trying to block out the naked men you burned into her brain. Just be a person. That's not a nest of memories you want in the family tree. You could kill Euclid with all of these angles, shaped by apes, raped by angels.
DirectEventInsurance.com supports sex, god, rock and roll. I actually use DirectEventInsurance.com. And listen, I don't push people downstairs at my wedding, and I don't start fires at my parties, and I'm not doing crazy kinds of explosive tricks and stunts during filming of the show, but if I wanted to, I probably could because I'm insured by DirectEventInsurance.com. So basically my life is a worry-free fun party from day one. You go to DirectEventInsurance.com, click, 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 click. You're all set to go, you're covered, you go back to the party, it's nothing but smiles. DirectEventInsurance.com. It's right for you.
Looking in the mirror, staring at the stranger.